When British-Nigerian author Nels Abbey described Kemi Badenoch as the black face of white supremacy, I initially felt the remark was a little harsh. But after hearing her recent comments claiming our children cannot be Nigerian citizens because of our gender, I'm beginning to wonder if that quote should be seen less as satire and more as an uncomfortable truth. For those who missed it, while trying to contrast the immigration policies of Nigeria and Britain, Kemi told Farid Zakari of CNN that it's virtually impossible to get Nigerian citizen. I have that citizenship by virtue of my parents. I can't give it to my children because I'm a woman. Kemi, I know you are the Conservative Party leader in the UK, and I know you think part of your JD to retain power is to pander to the right of your party. But you've got to give this a rest. Quite frankly, your obsession with using Nigeria to raise your political profile is beginning to look ridiculous. It's not just the pettiness of your attack on Nigeria or your attempt to rewrite history with your revisionist rhetoric or colonialism. It's now the case of outright lies and falsehood. Contrary to your claim, Section 25(1)(c) of the Nigerian Constitution states that a person born outside the country is a citizen of Nigeria if either of their parents is Nigerian. A simple Google search will have saved you the embarrassment of making such a blatantly false statement. The fact is this: citizenship by descent is not gender restricted in Nigeria. Kemi's attempt to use a gender trope is particularly dangerous because it falsely accuses Nigeria of systemic sexism where it doesn't exist, harms the fight for genuine gender equality, and distorts public perception, especially coming from a high-profile black woman. It can also damage public understanding, perpetuate myth, and entrench harmful biases against Nigeria. She ought to know better. I will end this the same way I ended my December 2024 monologue to her, titled History Lessons for the Tory Leader. May we not have to sell our souls in pursuit of what is ephemeral.
I guess I'll have to speak this one in Yoruba. Hopefully she'll still understand Yoruba and say, "Ye makparo." You can do all these things, and I mean, when it comes to politics, there's a lot that you can use that, or at least, even if it doesn't make us look good, we would say, it's true. Let's help ourselves, right? Mm-hmm. But let's not bring lies into this, because this was just so unnecessary. You said it's beginning to look ridiculous. I think it started looking ridiculous like months ago. And then there's a part that I'm not going to agree with, where you said Kemi's attempts to use a gender trope is particularly dangerous because it falsely accuses Nigeria of systemic sexism. Yeah. It's not false, really. Nigeria has systemic sexism, right? Mm-hmm. We hope that it will get better, because this conversation also brought up the conversation around marital, what's it called now? Marital passing of citizenship based on marriage, right? So from what I read or what I heard, if a foreign man marries a Nigerian woman, it's almost impossible or very difficult for the man to become a citizen. However, if it's the other way around, it's sort of easier for the woman to become a citizen. There's other laws too that we've been talking about in terms of even child custody, name change and things. And we're hoping that the immigration laws and the citizenship laws would be revisited and rearranged.
So I didn't say that sexism doesn't exist, but in that particular context that she's talking about, it
so if we
doesn't
have 10
exist.
contexts and it just not existing in one.
Yeah, so the
context
context you are talking about, in fact, that her husband cannot claim Nigerian citizenship, that is a legit.
That's true.
That's true.
Yes.
Okay, but in the context that she's saying that her children cannot.
No, I get the context, absolutely. I'm just saying that
doesn't exist. Sexism doesn't exist.
And which is why I'm asking, if you say there are 10 issues that can be tied to gender, and just one is the only one you can claim to say sexism is not existing there.
In that context,
exactly. It still means that we are still in a sexism, systemic sexism.
No
That's
doubt.
what I'm saying.
Even if we're looking at it within that same context, we can say that there's systemic sexism, because she was talking about the fact that it's difficult to get Nigerian citizenship. Yes, it's not true that children cannot have citizenship by virtue of their parents. But like I already said, the entire system itself is sexist in nature. There are systemic barriers that women face, even in the whole context of citizenship. She has mentioned one, but even within, we have to extend it a little bit further to place of origin. Indigenship in Nigeria, especially for a married woman, that marries outside her state, where does she come from? Where her father's state of origin says she's been married out. Her husband's state of origin says she's not from our place. So we have a lot of married women, including me, speaking from experience, that are stateless. Oh. They don't have a state. So I'm happy that this discussion is going on. It opens up the opportunity to discuss issues of citizenship, indigenship, and all that for Nigerian women. I went to my my state liaison office to get certificate of origin. I think I wanted to renew my passport or something, and I was told I was not from my state anymore. I should go to my husband's state of origin to get a certificate of origin. And I told them, this is the kind of war I like fighting. Bring it on, because I cannot go to my husband's state of origin. I'm not from there. I'm married to my husband. I'm married, and my husband comes from that particular state. So when you deny me the opportunity of, my state of origin by virtue of marriage, that's, by extension what Kemi is talking about. There are systemic barriers that render women, that are not beneficial to women. And for me, this is an opportunity for us to talk about it.
Being a political strategist, Kemi's move, everything she says is a strategy to be talked about.
Yeah.
We live in a world right now where it doesn't matter what the context of the conversation is, you just need to be talked about to be relevant, whether it's good or bad. Trump made CNN like a reality TV show. Like, I love to watch CNN now because, like, when I start talking about Trump, it's like, oh my God, it has to be entertaining, right? That is exactly what I'm talking about. She is using Nigeria because Nigeria is the loudest when it comes to having to defend themselves. We know how to defend ourselves.
Media voice.
We don't know how to defend. We don't know how to defend our country, but we cannot defend our country against the people that are making it, that are destroying it. But anybody else say anything, everybody outside say anything, about us or against us, look at AFCON, you're dead.
Just game on.
Don't touch Nigerians. No. And if you want to blow a line as a foreigner, talk about Nigeria. Nigerian men are the best men. Everybody is good. You're going to blow up.
The Nigerian jollof is the best.
Do you understand? It's a strategy. If I was a strategist, that's exactly everything she's doing. Using children, using her citizenship, talking bad about Nigeria.
So
all of that.
The truth doesn't matter.
It's a move. No, it's a move. But at the same time, we could focus on the topic, right? Should we all agree and say if a woman gets married to a man, automatically she has to move to become a citizenship or an origin of where that man is from, and that's the reason why that's like that? Or have we moved to a world where everybody should be able to own where they come from, regardless of marriage?
Well, this is a woman who's been given names here and there. Kemi Badenoch, Lettuce, House Negro, and all of that. But I wouldn't throw her entirely under the bus. I would toe the line of Bright to say that this is just a strategy. Unfortunately, this is very different from the other non-British, I put that in quote, personalities that we've seen in Britain, that she's chosen to use Nigeria as a strategy. Sad, but as Bright said, anything Nigerian catches on everywhere. Having said that, if we take a look at the First Lady of Ondo State, Betty Akeredolu, you'll recall that at a time she wanted to run for office in her home state, and she was sent back that, no, you do not belong here anymore. The same thing with Bianca. At some point, she wasn't allowed to do anything other than where she was from. In Yoruba land, I don't think that is done. They still, you can still come back and do something in your father's state, in your state of origin, not your husband's, But having said that also, it's unfortunate that she said that at CNN. I think she may have mixed up the facts. And the good thing is it was CNN and they would have fact-checked her. And then it's made global news. I will reiterate that it is the husbands that cannot get Nigerian citizenship not the children.
Yeah.
And it reiterates what Nigerian women have agitated for in the last 2 years. We've been saying this is not right. If you as a man came into Nigeria and married a woman, you would find it hard to become a citizen. But if it was a Nigerian man who went to Singapore, for instance, it is so easy to make that woman a Nigerian. And this is where we're talking about systemic sexism. It must change even as we continue to review the Constitution presently.
Yeah. Our voice is our power. We need to count the cost of speaking to please others.